I was standing on the dock of my cottage in Muskoka, phone pressed to my ear, when my nephew's girlfriend walked up behind me and whispered, "Don't sign anything tomorrow. Check the beneficiary clause. It's not what you agreed to." The sun was setting over Lake Rousseau. $38 million had just cleared into my account 3 hours earlier. The sale of my cybersecurity firm to a Toronto conglomerate had finally closed after 18 months of negotiations. I'd built that company from my basement in Barrie 23 years ago, weathered the dot-com crash, survived the 2008 recession, and somehow turned it into something worth walking away from. But the money felt hollow. My wife Barbara and I had separated 2 years before the sale closed. The divorce papers sat unsigned on my lawyer's desk while we fought over the $38 million. 35 years of marriage, and it had come down to this: lawyers arguing over percentages while we communicated through intermediaries. Barbara wanted half. I'd built the company long before we married, but the law didn't care about that. What the law also didn't know was that I'd discovered her affair 3 years ago. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, text messages with her yoga instructor. I'd kept quiet because by then I didn't care enough to fight. But I kept the evidence, just in case. My daughter Sarah, 32, sided with her mother. My son Michael, 29, stood by me, though I knew it cost him. Family dinners had become battlegrounds. Holidays were negotiated through lawyers. Sarah hadn't spoken to me in 6 months, which is why I'd invited everyone to the cottage for the long weekend. Not Sarah or Barbara. They'd made it clear where they stood, but Michael was coming. So was my sister Linda and her husband David, and Tyler Morrison, my nephew, my older sister Catherine's boy. Kate had died in a construction accident when Tyler was 7, and I'd stepped in as the father figure he'd lost, put him through university at Waterloo, gave him his first job at my company. When he wanted to start his own business, I supported that too. Well, I gave him advice, connections. What I didn't do was give him the $50,000 he'd asked for. That was 2 years ago. Tyler's startup was drowning, and he'd come to me for a lifeline, but I'd just written a $400,000 check to Michael for his third failed venture, and I couldn't stomach another loss. I told Tyler no, told him to restructure, bootstrap, make it work. Tyler's company folded 4 months later. He'd been distant since then, but when I mentioned the partnership idea, making him a 50% partner in a new cybersecurity consulting firm I'd fund with $19 million, he jumped at it. Said it was a second chance. Said he wouldn't let me down. Tyler was 31 now, married to Amy, with a 3-year-old daughter and another baby on the way. He'd been talking about money troubles, how daycare costs were crushing them. This partnership was my way of fixing what I'd broken between us. Tyler arrived Friday afternoon with Jennifer, a woman I'd never met. I did a double take. "I thought you were married." "Separated," Tyler said quickly. "Amy's 8 months pregnant, staying with her parents in Ottawa. Jennifer and I met at a networking event 6 months ago. She works in finance." Jennifer was younger than I expected, maybe 26, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She shook my hand firmly. "Tyler talks about you all the time." The plan was simple: celebrate the sale. Then Saturday morning, I'd sign the paperwork Tyler had drawn up. He'd run the firm. I'd be the silent partner, mentoring from the sidelines, the way Kate would have wanted. I turned to look at Jennifer now as the sun painted the lake orange and gold. "What did you just say?" I kept my voice low. Through the cottage windows, I could see Tyler in the kitchen with Linda and David, laughing about something. "The contract Tyler prepared," Jennifer said quietly. "Page 19, subsection 4. The beneficiary designation was changed. If something happens to you within the first year, his stake becomes full ownership, not joint ownership with your heirs as you'd originally agreed." My stomach dropped. "How do you know what's in the contract?" Because I've been reviewing his laptop when he's asleep. She glanced back at the cottage. My name isn't really Jennifer Morton. It's Jennifer Marston. I'm an investigator with the Ontario Securities Commission. This started as an official investigation into Tyler's venture capital fraud, but it's gotten complicated. You need to explain. Now. We walked toward the trail that led around the property, staying close to the shore where the sound of waves would cover our voices. 6 months ago, Jennifer began, Tyler submitted fraudulent financial projections to raise capital. We were building a civil case, standard securities fraud. But when I went undercover, I found other things. Searches on his computer about staging accidents, carbon monoxide in cottages, life insurance payout timelines, questions about drowning forensics. The loons called across the lake. Somewhere in the distance, a motorboat headed in for the night. You think he's planning to kill me? I think he's researching it. The OSC case is wrapped. We have enough for penalties. But when I found the murder research, I reported to RCMP. Detective Martinez asked me to stay in place while they built a criminal case, so I'm not technically on assignment anymore. I couldn't walk away. I'd known Jennifer for 3 hours. I had no reason to trust her over Tyler, but my gut, the same instinct that had helped me navigate business deals for 2 decades, was screaming that she was telling the truth. What do you want me to do? Don't sign tomorrow. Tell him you need your lawyer to review it first. Buy us time to see what he's really planning. The cottage was warm with light ahead of us. Through the windows, I could see Linda setting out snacks. Tyler was helping, looking relaxed and happy. My nephew, my dead sister's son. About 30 minutes ago, I said slowly. Tyler offered to make me a special drink, a craft bourbon he brought from Toronto. Wanted me to be the first to try it. I said maybe later. Jennifer's expression hardened. Where's the bottle? Kitchen counter, dark glass. Don't drink anything he prepares. Nothing. We walked back in silence. When we reached the cottage, Tyler was at the barbecue on the deck, flipping steaks. He looked up with a grin. There you are. Was starting to think you two had wandered off into the woods. Jennifer, did Uncle Rob bore you with stories about the old days? Just showing me the property, Jennifer said smoothly. It's beautiful up here. Best spot on the lake, Tyler agreed. Hey, Uncle Rob, I poured you that bourbon, left it on the side table in the living room. Thanks, but I'll stick with beer tonight, saving the good stuff for after we sign tomorrow. Something flickered across Tyler's face. Just for a second. Disappointment. Then the smile was back. Sure. More for me then. Dinner was torture. I had to sit there making conversation, laughing at David's jokes, listening to Linda talk about her book club, all while watching Tyler and wondering if the boy I loved was planning to murder me. He was attentive, making sure I had enough food, refilling my water glass, asking about my retirement plans. Every gesture that would have seemed loving yesterday now felt calculated. After dinner, Linda and David headed to bed early. Michael called to say he was stuck in Toronto, something with his latest venture. He'd try to make it next weekend. Tyler suggested a bonfire down by the water. Just like old times. Remember when I was 15 and tried to convince you that marshmallows counted as a vegetable? I did remember. God, I remembered everything. Teaching him to skip stones. Holding him when he cried about missing his mother. I remember, I said. We built the fire together. Jennifer sat watching us. The night was clear, stars sharp overhead. September in cottage country, the air already carrying hints of autumn. I want to thank you, Tyler said once we had the fire going. For everything. For being there after Mom died. For this partnership. I know I don't deserve it after how things went with my last company. Of course you deserve it. You're family. He poked at the fire. I haven't always been honest with you about business stuff, but this time will be different. This partnership, it's going to work. Jennifer stood up. I'm going to grab a sweater. getting chilly. After she left, Tyler moved closer. Can I ask you something about Jennifer? Do you think she's trustworthy? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? Sometimes I get the feeling she's hiding something, like she's not who she says she is. He laughed, but it sounded forced. I called her office once to surprise her for lunch, and they said no one by that name worked there. When I asked her about it, she had an excuse, but it felt off. So he'd been checking up on her, and she'd been sloppy with her cover. Have you talked to her about it? Not directly, but between you and me, I'm thinking about ending things after this weekend. Jennifer came back, and Tyler shifted gears, telling stories about past cottage trips. He was good, smooth, natural. If I didn't know what I knew, I'd never suspect a thing. Around 11, we called it a night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the cottage settle. Every creak made me tense. Around 2 in the morning, my phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Don't drink the water in your room. Check the pitcher. Using my kit tomorrow to test it. Stay alert. I'd filled that pitcher myself before dinner, which meant someone had added something to it afterward. I got up and poured the water down the sink, running the tap for a long time. Then I wedged a chair under my door handle and sat by the window, watching the lake and waiting for morning. The sun rose around 6:30. I'd been awake all night, running through scenarios. When I finally emerged, Tyler was making breakfast. Pancakes, bacon, my favorite. There he is, Tyler said cheerfully. Thought you might sleep in. We've got a big day. Signing that contract, officially becoming partners. He flipped a pancake. I was thinking we could do it here, make it special. Jennifer can witness, then maybe celebrate with lunch in Gravenhurst. Actually, I said, I need to push things back a day. Want my lawyer to look over everything one more time. The kitchen went very quiet. Tyler's smile froze. Your lawyer? Just a formality. $38 million is a lot of money. Want to make sure everything's perfect. We've been over the contract 3 times. You said it looked good. And I'm sure it is. But Kate always told me to have a professional review important documents. Tyler set down the spatula. Are you having second thoughts? Not at all, just being cautious. Because if you don't trust me, it's not about trust, Tyler. It's about doing things properly. Jennifer appeared in the doorway, sensing the tension. Linda tried to smooth things over. Rob's just being smart. That's how he built a successful company. But the damage was done. Tyler finished breakfast in silence. After eating, he said he needed to make calls and disappeared into the guest room. Jennifer caught my eye and tilted her head toward the deck. Outside, she whispered, "The water. I tested it. Zolpidem, sleeping medication, strong dose. He drugged it. And I found something else. His phone. He left it charging. He's been texting someone named Alex for 3 weeks, planning to come up here tonight after everyone leaves. Just you and Tyler, supposedly fixing the dock. But the messages talk about an accident, getting you in the water, making it look like you fell and drowned. She showed me screenshots. They were careful, coded, but the intent was clear. Alex is his business partner from the failed startup. They're in debt together, deep. A door opened inside. Tyler came out onto the deck. Jennifer, can I talk to you? Privately? They walked toward the water. Tyler was gesturing, agitated. Jennifer kept shaking her head. Linda came out. Everything okay? Just business stuff, I said. Tyler and Jennifer returned, both looking strained. Tyler announced they were heading into Bracebridge to run errands. Would be back by late afternoon. After they left, I called the RCMP detachment. Detective Martinez listened patiently while I explained, kept it factual, didn't embellish. Mr. Fitzgerald, she said when I finished, I'm actually familiar with your case. Jennifer Marston briefed me 2 weeks ago. She's legit. I verified her credentials myself. We've been building a case, but we needed more evidence. Can you forward me those text messages she showed you? So it's real. He's really planning this. Looks that way. I'm going to come up there with my partner this afternoon. We'll park out of sight. Wait for Tyler and this Alex person to make a move. With any luck, we'll catch them in the act. You want to use me as bait. With your permission, yes. You'll be safe. We'll be close by the whole time. But we need them to actually attempt something for this to stick in court. I thought about Tyler, 7 years old, crying in my arms. 17, so proud when he got into Waterloo. 29, asking for that loan I'd refused. 31, planning to murder me for $19 million. Okay, I said, let's do it. But detective, I want to help. I'm going to tell Tyler I'll sign tonight, that I've changed my mind. Make him think he's won. He'll get confident, maybe say something incriminating. I'll leave my phone recording in my jacket pocket. She was quiet for a moment. That's risky. 23 years in sales, remember? I can get him talking. Okay, but at first sign of danger, we move in. And Mr. Fitzgerald, don't try to be a hero. Just get him talking. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Linda and David decided to head back to the city early. David had an early meeting. After they left, Jennifer returned alone around 4. Tyler was meeting with a potential client, she said. We both knew that was a lie. Detective Martinez arrived an hour later with her partner, Detective Park. They were in plain clothes, driving an unmarked SUV. We went over the plan. I'd stay at the cottage, act normal. If Tyler returned with someone, I'd find an excuse to go down to the dock. They'd intervene before anything happened. What if he's armed? I asked. We'll be armed too, Martinez said, and we've got backup from the tactical team in Aurelia. But based on the texts, they're planning to make it look like an accident. They won't want anything that suggests foul play. Jennifer was pacing. I should have reported this sooner. You did the right thing, Martinez assured her. You got us the evidence we needed. Nightfall. The detectives positioned themselves in the woods with night vision equipment. Jennifer stayed in the cottage with me, both of us trying to look casual while being terrified. Around 9:30, headlights appeared on the cottage road. Tyler's car. And behind it, a pickup truck. That's Alex, Jennifer breathed. Tyler came in first, all smiles. Uncle Rob, good news. I brought someone to look at that electrical issue you mentioned. This is my friend Alex. He's an electrician. Alex was tall, maybe 40, with a beard and work boots. He shook my hand firmly. Happy to take a look. Tyler says you've got some outlets that aren't working? That's right, mostly down by the dock, the outdoor lighting. Perfect. Why don't we head down there now? I've got a flashlight. This was it. Martinez had said to go along until they made an actual move. Sure, I said. Let me grab my jacket. I slipped my phone into the pocket, hit record, and followed them out. Jennifer touched my arm as I passed. Her eyes said, be careful. We walked down to the dock, the three of us in the darkness. Alex had a toolbox, playing the part. Tyler carried a large flashlight. The beam cut through the night, illuminating the path. You know, I said as we reached the dock, I've been thinking about what you said this morning, Tyler. About trust. You're right. I should trust you more. Let's do the signing tonight. I don't need my lawyer. Family doesn't need lawyers. Tyler stopped walking. Really? Really? You're Kate's son. That's enough for me. In the flashlight's glow, I saw something cross Tyler's face. Relief. Then something else. Something harder. That's great, Uncle Rob. That's really great. But here's the thing. He paused. I know you postponed the signing. I know you're having doubts. And I know Jennifer told you things. My blood ran cold. Tyler, stop. His voice was different now, hard. Jennifer told me about the contract, the investigations, all of it. Alex set down the toolbox. We can still make this work. Sign the papers tonight. Jennifer stays quiet about the OSC stuff. Everybody wins. And if I don't? Tyler moved to block the path back to shore. Then you're a 63-year-old man who tragically fell off his dock in the dark and drowned. You'd been drinking. There's an empty bourbon bottle in the recycling to prove it. Accidents happen at cottages all the time. I don't have a heart condition. You will after the autopsy finds the zolpidem in your system. Same stuff that was in your water pitcher. Causes arrhythmia, dizziness. Very unfortunate. The dock creaked under our feet. Water lapped against the posts. In my pocket, my phone was recording everything. Tyler, listen to me. No, you listen. His voice cracked. When I asked you for $50,000, you said no. Said you couldn't afford it, but you gave Michael $400,000 for his third failed startup. I wasn't asking for a handout. I was asking for a loan. My business was viable. I just needed bridge funding to get through one bad quarter. But you looked at me and said no, because I'm not your son. I'm just your nephew, your obligation. That's not true. It is true. You chose Michael over me, again and again. So yeah, I'm choosing myself now. $19 million. Enough to never have to beg anyone for anything ever again. You're right, I said quietly. I did choose Michael over you. I was wrong about that. But Tyler, this isn't the answer. Killing me won't fix what's broken. It'll fix my bank account. Alex shifted his weight. Tyler, we need to do this now, before someone comes looking. Tyler, I tried again. Think about your daughter, about the baby coming. You really want them growing up knowing their father is a murderer? They'll grow up comfortable. That's what matters. RCMP, hands up. Detective Martinez and Park emerged from the tree line, weapons drawn, flashlights blinding. More lights blazed from the woods. The backup team. Tyler spun around, panicked. Alex dropped the toolbox and ran, but only made it 3 steps before 2 tactical officers tackled him into the grass. Tyler Morrison, Alex Brennan, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and attempted extortion. You have the right to remain silent. I sat down hard on the dock, legs shaking. It was over. Tyler was shouting, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. They were just trying to scare me. They never would have actually done it. Alex was silent, smart enough to know anything he said would only make things worse. Jennifer appeared, running down from the cottage. She looked at Tyler being handcuffed, then at me. I'm sorry. I know he was family. Was, I said. Past tense. The investigation took 3 months. They found everything. The previous scams, the fake investors, the pattern of fraud stretching back 5 years. Tyler's laptop had detailed plans for staging my death, including research into drowning forensics and life insurance payout timelines. The recording from my phone sealed it. Tyler's own words. $19 million. Enough to never have to beg anyone for anything ever again. The trial was quick. Tyler took a plea deal. 12 years for fraud, conspiracy, and attempted murder. Alex got 8. With good behavior, Tyler would be eligible for parole in 4 years. Alex in 3. I sold the cybersecurity consulting firm concept to someone else. Someone I'd vetted through 3 separate background checks. Put most of the money in a trust for Michael and Linda's kids. The rest went into a foundation for families who'd lost parents young. The Catherine Morrison Memorial Fund. Something I should have done for Tyler instead of just giving him advice and refusing him the one thing he'd actually asked for. 2 weeks after the trial ended, Barbara's lawyer called. She's asking for 50%, he said. And given your situation with Tyler, she thinks you'll settle quickly, avoid more publicity. I'd been waiting for this. Barbara always did have good timing. Tell her I'll give her 30%. Mr. Fitzgerald, with respect, she has a strong case for 50 under California law. Tell her I know about the affair. Silence on the line. I've known for 3 years, I continued. Her yoga instructor. I have hotel receipts, credit card statements, text messages. I didn't use them before because I didn't care enough to fight. But if she wants to drag this into court, if she wants to argue she deserves half of a company she never supported me building, I'll make sure the judge knows exactly what kind of partner she was. 3 days later, Barbara agreed to 30%. But something else happened after that. Something I didn't expect. Sarah called. My daughter, 32 years old. The girl I'd watched grow up, who'd been brilliant and capable, until I'd stopped seeing her at all. Until I'd poured all my attention into Michael, trying to create a successor. Dad, she said, can we talk? We met at a coffee shop in Toronto. Neutral territory. She looked tired. I heard about Tyler, she said, about what happened. Yeah. And I heard you're starting a foundation, the Catherine Morrison Memorial Fund. Your aunt deserves to be remembered. Sarah stirred her coffee, not meeting my eyes. Mom told me you settled. 30%. It was fair. You could have fought for less. You built that company before you married her. She gave up 35 years. That's worth something. Sarah finally looked up. Why didn't you give Tyler the money? 2 years ago, when he asked. The question I'd been dreading. The one I'd asked myself 1,000 times. Because I'd just given Michael $400,000 for another failed startup. And I was tired of watching money disappear into bad ideas. But Tyler's idea was good. I looked into it after everything happened. His startup was viable. He just needed $50,000 to bridge a rough quarter. I know. So why didn't you help him? I took a breath. Because Michael was my son, and Tyler was my nephew. And in that moment, I chose blood. But I was wrong. About a lot of things. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. You chose Michael over me too, Dad. My whole life. When I got into Harvard Business School, you said it was too expensive. But when Michael flunked out of Western, you paid for Waterloo. When I asked you to invest in my consulting practice, you said it was too risky. But you gave Michael $400,000, 3 times. Sarah, I'm not saying I would have tried to kill you for it, but I understand why Tyler felt the way he did, why he thought you didn't really see him, because you didn't see me either. The coffee shop was busy around us, people living their lives. And here I was, 63 years old, finally understanding what I'd done. You're right, I said. I didn't see you. I saw Michael as my legacy, the son who would carry on the Fitzgerald name, and I was so focused on that, I missed the fact that you were already everything I'd hoped he'd become. I didn't need you to give me money, Dad. I needed you to believe in me. I do believe in you. Now, after Tyler almost killed you, after you realized that choosing Michael over everyone else nearly cost you your life. She paused. But where were you when I was building my practice? Where were you when I needed my father? I had no answer, because she was right. We sat in silence for a long time. Sarah finished her coffee. I thought she was going to leave, and I couldn't blame her. But instead, she pulled out her phone. The foundation, she said. The Catherine Morrison Memorial Fund. You're going to need a CFO, someone who understands finance, operations, strategic planning, someone who actually cares about the mission, not just the money. Sarah, I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for a job, a real one, market rate salary, and I'll earn it. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in years. Why? I asked. After everything? Because someone has to keep you from screwing up again, she said. And because Kate was my aunt too. And because maybe this is how we fix what's broken between us. By doing something that actually matters. I don't deserve this. Probably not. But I'm not doing it for you, Dad. I'm doing it for me. And for all the kids out there who lost a parent and need someone to believe in them. The way you should have believed in Tyler. The way you should have believed in me. 4 years after the trial, Jennifer called me. Tyler's up for parole, she said. His lawyer thinks he'll get it. Good behavior, completed rehabilitation programs. The hearing is in 6 weeks. They want to know if you oppose. I thought about it. Thought about the boy I'd loved. The man who'd tried to kill me. The complicated truth between those two things. I don't oppose, I said. But I want to talk to him first. The prison was north of Toronto, a low concrete building surrounded by fences. They brought Tyler to a visiting room. He sat across from me in an orange jumpsuit, looking older than 35, thinner, quieter. Uncle Rob, he said. I didn't think you'd come. Neither did I. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm sorry, Tyler finally said. I know that doesn't change anything. You were right about one thing, I said. I did choose Michael over you, over Sarah, over everyone. I was so focused on creating a legacy that I forgot to care about the people in my life. I tried to kill you for money. And I let you drown financially because I was tired of watching my son fail. We both made choices. Yours were worse, but mine weren't blameless. Tyler looked down at his hands. I think about Mom sometimes, about what she'd say if she knew. She'd be disappointed in both of us. Do you hate me? I thought about that, really thought about it. No, I said finally. I don't hate you. I don't trust you. I don't think I can ever be around you again. But I don't hate you. You're still Kate's son. You're still the kid I taught to fish. You're also the man who tried to murder me. Both things are true. What happens now? Now you serve your time. Get released if they grant parole. Build whatever life you can build. But the foundation I started, the Catherine Morrison Memorial Fund, that's your mother's legacy, not yours. You don't get to benefit from it. You don't get to be part of it. That's the line. Tyler nodded slowly. That's fair. And Tyler, if they release you, stay away from me. Stay away from Sarah, Michael, Linda. You made your choices. Now you live with the consequences. I will. I stood to leave. Tyler stood too. Uncle Rob? Yeah? Thank you. For not hating me. That's more than I deserve. Probably, I said. But your mother would have wanted me to be better than I was. So I'm trying. And the cottage became mine again after the divorce finalized. Barbara didn't want it. Too many memories, she said. I understood that. I spent summers there now. Brought Sarah sometimes. She was good at her job, better than good. The foundation was growing, helping hundreds of kids who'd lost parents, creating scholarships, funding counseling, making a difference. Michael came up occasionally too. We were working on our relationship, slowly. He'd finally admitted the startups were about pleasing me, not his actual passions. He was teaching now, high school computer science, and seemed happy, happier than he'd ever been chasing my dreams. Michael called the day after Tyler's arrest. He'd been shaken. Tyler had been like a cousin to him growing up. We talked for an hour. He didn't say much, just, I'm glad you're okay, Dad. It was enough. On quiet nights, I walked down to the dock and thought about that September evening, how Tyler's smile had looked so genuine, even as he planned my death, how close I'd come to signing those papers, drinking that bourbon, trusting completely. But I also thought about Jennifer's whispered warning, Martinez's quick action, Sarah's willingness to forgive when I didn't deserve it. Life is full of betrayals. People disappoint us. They choose money over love, greed over loyalty. But life is also full of unexpected heroes, investigators who risk their covers, detectives who take threats seriously, daughters who give their fathers second chances. I learned to hold both truths at once, to be cautious but not cynical, to trust but verify, to love but not blindly. Every summer now, when the loons call across Lake Rousseau and the sun sets behind the trees, I pour myself a drink, always from a bottle I open myself, and toast to survival, to second chances, to the complicated mess of family, and the grace of knowing when to let someone go. Tyler was released on parole after 4 years. I heard through Linda he'd moved to Vancouver, working construction, staying clean. Amy had divorced him while he was inside. He had supervised visitation with his daughters twice a year. That was it. We never spoke again. That was the boundary we'd drawn, and we both respected it. Some breaks don't heal. Some betrayals are too deep, and that's okay. For now, I'm just grateful to watch the sunrise over the lake, to see Sarah's name on foundation letterhead as CFO, to hear Michael laugh without my expectations crushing him, to be alive, aware, and finally understanding what Kate always knew, that love without wisdom is just another kind of vulnerability. The water sparkles in the morning light, the coffee is fresh, and somewhere in the woods, a loon calls out, not sad, not happy, just existing. That's enough. That's everything.